This is One Metal Left, and I'll skip the suspense and just get right into it. Today is an announcement that I am going to be at least trying full time streamer. This is something that I really started thinking about. Um, Maybe start a Settlers League. I've been streaming on Twitch. I started 2023, and then I got partnered around the start of 2024, around the start of last year. I've kind of kept doing a little better every single league, and Settlers League was about the first league I started to kind of look at how things were going and think, I wonder if I could do this full time. I mean, I'd kind of steadily, grown a little bit each league, but it was just a side hobby. I wasn't taking it seriously, whatever, and that's around the time where it started to look halfway serious, and I thought to myself, maybe I should try this. We had Path of Exile 2 coming up, which seemed like possibly a good time to make the transition, and I was really thinking about it. But I held off because, frankly, we weren't sure how good it was going to be. Now, that's not the released game, that is early access beta, so I know a lot of people probably go into that thinking it's going to be a release game, but it's not. And I did hold off, and, well, to maybe my pessimistic view, it didn't turn out to be that good. But it's still early access beta. They're still cooking. They're going to have a patch here in about 2 or 3 weeks for 0.2. But I still kind of held off. I looked at the situation with PoE 1 and PoE 2, and I know I'm always on the pessimistic side of these things, but when they had the announcement in early February, where they basically came out and said, "Hey guys, patch 326? Well, we actually haven't even started on that." I know a lot of people were surprised by that, but I remember reading that and being like, "Yeah, duh." I don't know what people were expecting, but I kind of had the viewpoint that we're gonna actually have kind of a content drought here. We're going to have 0 with PoE 1, and then at the pace they've been churning out stuff for PoE 2, it's probably going to be a bit of a letdown in terms of the pace the content comes out. They had 2 months into the release patch of beta. They had basically 0 updates. They finally threw out some updated tower maps, and that's it. So it actually started to kind of look like we were entering a massive content void, which started to look like, well, maybe this is not, the right time, or maybe I'll just see how things go. But things changed a little bit for a couple reasons. So there was the real huge pushback from the PoE community after they announced that 326 hadn't even been started yet. And I thought they were pretty much just going to shelf PoE 1 for a year or two. But even though they might not have put a ton of effort into it, we got the Freesia League, whatever, and it was actually really good. And surprisingly, a lot of the PoE 1 community came back. So it actually, with kind of PoE 1 hype back, and then now they're coming out with 0.2, it's actually starting to look like kind of the initial vision might happen, where they just have rapid alternation of PoE 1 content, PoE 2 content, PoE 1 content, PoE 2 content, every 6 to 8 weeks. And if that's the case, well, frankly, on my normal schedule, I can't keep up with that. I mean, I normally struggle to keep up with just, playing as hard as I can for one PoE 1 league every year. But if we're going to have content cycles like that, we had February 20th was Freesia League, and then April 2nd is going to be 0.2. If they kind of keep this pace up, I'm either going to need to become a filthy casual, or I'm just going to completely fall out of it. So it actually gave me kind of an optimistic point of view that they actually are going to have content streams for both games at the same time. So that kind of plays into the decision. I mean, we've got a good PoE 1 event, and people are fired up to play, I think, both games. Maybe the community is a little bit split, where some people are just content on staying with PoE 1 for a while, and some people are maybe new to PoE 2 and not going to try PoE 1. But regardless, I'm going to try to play hard on both games, and this kind of plays into that decision. As far as just maybe a few other thoughts. There's been in the past, there's been, like Last Epoch they have content coming out in like April, for example, and people ask me, "Hey, gonna play Last Epoch?" And it's just like I really can't. I just don't have the time. Well, I'm still not gonna play the April content because I'm completely out of the game, and it's coming out the same time as 0.2. But I going forward in the future, maybe I'll have some time to either play a couple other games or whatnot. But I think just in general, this is something for me to get maybe a little personal that I've kind of always wanted to try. Like this has kind of been, maybe an attempt at a dream come true. It's not like, oh, I've made it as a big streamer type thing. No, it's more so like I'm in a pretty okay spot financially right now. The house payments are getting pretty skinny, and I'm doing pretty all right saved up. So even if this is something where I end up, like making less, but I'm just doing what I would have done anyways in my free time all the time, that's kind of a dream come true. I'll maybe share a little more info on this. Just I'm a very open person on these kind of things. I know a lot of people try to like not share stuff because maybe if they're doing really well, they don't want to like tell people because then like people are. You don't want to be like, oh, donating to a millionaire streamer or whatever. But I'm really open on these things, so I'll just kind of give like a little bit of background. But like I said, I'm not in a I've made it state by any means. But I got partnered by Twitch last year in 2024. It's tax season right now. I remember last year at this time, I looked at my earnings for 2023. And combined YouTube and Twitch, I made $625. Which is, I guess, just a free $625 when you just view it as like some side hobby thing. But it's also kind of tax season for 2024 now. And for 2024, I made about 20 grand. Now, obviously, that's not like, enough to maybe transition to a full career. I'll give you a little. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to show this, but I'm pretty open on this stuff. But like, this is my Twitch from January to December of 2024. As you can see, we've ramped up a little bit. Like, I was not a big streamer back here. I'm still not a big streamer, but this is like small streamer. This is like medium streamer finally. And then on my YouTube, I make about half what I do on Twitch because I don't really put a lot of effort into YouTube. There's people that are the opposite where they make more of their money on YouTube and less on Twitch. They're primarily YouTube content creators, but I make about half on YouTube. I think I made like 6,500 or 6,300, something like that. So that puts me at like, I don't know, like a little over 20 grand. But like the thing is, I'm still kind of, I'm bigger now than I was 1 year ago. And this is all being done while working 45 hours a week. I am doing this with a full-time job 45 hours a week. So this has all just kind of been a side hustle. So I'm a little optimistic that doing it and with my full force and full intention as my primary occupation, I can both grow things and, maybe keep the lights on. But as far as what this means for like content creation, this should be pretty big because there's been a lot of like guides I've come out with where I've maybe like half-assed them or like people have had a ton of questions and like I frankly just don't have the energy to go into like the extra video explaining this or extra time explaining this, and it's just like I just kind of batted it off as like I'm gonna do the single video and then that's it. Like now I will. Being as I can, have my full focus on this, I'll be able to have much more in-depth guides, much more information provided. I tend to play like more complicated builds, so that'll help a lot. The other thing too is like when I sometimes like look at like myself streaming, like if I just check a VOD or something, I do know that my weeknight streams, I don't look at that Connor and think like, yeah, that's a good streamer right there, because I am tired. I am not running on much sleep. I have weeks where this is like a brand new release of a league where between work and PoE I'm doing like a 95-hour week. And I'm short-tempered, I'm easily irritated, stuff like that. I'm ignoring a lot of questions. It's just like that's not a good It's not a good streamer. That's not a good me. But that's like half my time streaming. But then I look at like Weekend Connor, who's like well rested and like upbeat, and it's just like, yeah, look at that. He's answering questions. He's, constantly, interacting with chat. Like I have my full attention on it. I'm not just like a sleepless zombie. It's just like, I think if that was me all the time, it'd just be a lot better. So, long story short, I'm gonna give this a try. Maybe it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, well, like I said, I'm doing all right now, so I can always recalibrate things in like a year or something if this doesn't work out. But if it does work out, even to the point where it's keeping the lights on, paying the bills, this will be for me a much happier state of existence than what I was doing before. So I guess this is the start of it. To that one guy or several guys on that Reddit thread where I poofed a Baxis Mjolnir that said "rip your streaming career" when I was streaming to like 70 peak viewers. Well, here we are. I'll see you guys next time.